So in the previous video, we saw what RESP specification is and how every single critical data type is represented, encoded and serialized in the RESP specification. In this video, we will do a very exhaustive walkthrough of the RESP specification in our own Golang based re-implementation of Redis. So for this, I have created a module called core, within which I have created a file called resp.go. resp.go will contain anything and everything around RESP specification. Basically, encoding and decoding of values will go over here. Right? So the function that I have exposed is called decode. Decode takes in a slice of byte called data and it returns the actual object. So if we get in RESP encoded form an integer, this would return an actual int object of Golang and it would return an optional error. Right? In this, we are invoking another function called decode1. So what happens is we might get a large slice of byte, an extremely large slice of byte, but the decode1 function will decode the first RESP encoded value out of it. So I might have 3 values encoded back to back, but decode1 function would just decode the first RESP value, which is what we are invoking. It is like a helper function. Think of it as a helper function. So decode1 takes in the slice of byte, it decodes value out of it, and it returns 2 more things. One is error and one other is integer. We'll take a look at it in a couple of minutes. So let's see what decode1 function does. It takes in a slice of byte and it returns an interface int and an error. Interface is like generic object that we are returning. And this could be anything, int, string, array, map, anything, right? And what we are doing is, because we know that in Redis, every single RESP encoded value or every single data type starts with a special character, which is what we are trying to switch on the data of 0. So a simple string starts with a plus, an error starts with a minus, an integer starts with a colon, a bulk string starts with a $, an array starts with a star. So that's what this switch is all about. Now let's start understanding it one by one. So if we go and read about simple string. Now simple string is that whatever value is there in the slice of byte, we pass it over here. Once we get that, what this function does, it reads the RESP encoded simple string from data and returns the string, the delta and the error. Now we'll understand what this middle value is all about that I was talking about. So your slice is very large, right? Your slice can be very large. You might have 3 or 4 values back to back encoded in the message, but you want to just interpret the first value out of it. So while interpreting the first value, you would gather that value. Apart from that, you would want up until which location have you parsed it. So the second value is the delta, which is the length of the value that you have parsed and processed, so that if someone wants to encode or decode the next value out of it, can start from that location. This is that delta. So this helps us move forward one after another. It comes in very handy when we are building complex data types, which we'll look at in a couple of minutes. So if I take a look at the simple string, what do we see? So simple string in Redis, what it does is, simple string in Redis is just, it starts with a plus, then you have the string, and then you have /r/n, right? So plus OK /r/n implies OK as your normal string. So how do we implement this? We start with POS equal to 1 because first is the first character, the 0th index is plus. So we start from the first index. This is for your POS, which is this is what your delta is. And we continue to we continue to iterate through the array until we encounter a /r. As soon as we do that, we mark this location, interpret it as a string and return it. So this is the string that we are returning, string of data of 1:POS. This is the string, the actual string, the OK that we just got. And the second value that we are returning is POS plus 2. What is POS plus 2? So for example, if your string is plus OK /r/n, the number of bytes required to encode this entire value is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Right? So /r/n, that plus 2 is to accommodate for /r/n, which means that you have parsed till that location. So now if there were 3 strings back to back attached, I have to tell the other function that I have read till this point, right? Because /r/n, and since then you can start. So the number of bytes that you have read is 5 plus OK /r/n. The number of bytes that you have read is 5, which is what this would handle. So string of data 1 plus pos plus 2 is what you're returning, and an error nil because there is no error. Right? Now let's take a look at the second type, which is error. So error is represented, starts with a minus and then followed by the error message followed by the /r/n. Right? Similar to, like, if you look at this, the difference between an error and a simple string is just of plus and minus, nothing else. Right? Given this, we can just invoke read simple string out of this and return whatever it returns. Dead simple. Right? The third one is an integer 64 value. So an integer starts with a colon followed by the integer, then /r/n. So integer is literally string representation of an integer. Right? So if I want to send 1000, I'll be sending colon 1000 /r/n. So if I'm sending that particular value, our iteration would be very similar. So what we'll do is read int takes in slice of bytes and returns an int 64, delta and an error. So we'll start with the first, like pos equal to 1 because the first character is colon, and from there we start our iteration, because now if I'm sending colon 1000, so I have to start from the first index because the first one is already done. So pos equal to 1, and I'm creating a variable called value in which I'll be reconstructing the integer, because I'm getting integer in the string format or in the byte format, and now I have to convert it because it's a string to int conversion. So while I'm iterating, so for pos equal to pos, data of pos not equal to r /r. So until I discover /r, I'm reconstructing this integer using value equal to value into 10 plus int 64 of data of pos minus 0. Right? So minus 0, because I'll be getting 0 as a string or 0 as a byte, I have to convert it into 0 as value 0. So this minus byte 0, I'd be reconstructing this integer all over again in value, and I'm returning that int 64, pos plus 2 to accommodate that /r/n at the end, and a nil because there is no error over here. Right? That's what your read int 64 would do. Then the next one is bulk string. Bulk string starts with a dollar. Bulk string starts with a dollar followed by the length of the string, followed by /r/n, followed by hello, the actual string, and ending with /r/n. Right? Now to write a decoder for this, the first thing that we have to write is we have to write, like similar to all other places, we'll start our iteration from the first. So pos equal to 1. And we are passing this into a read length function. So read length would traverse through from the current offset. It would traverse through until it can gather 0 to 9 digits. Until it gets /r, typically. Until it gets a /r, it would continue to iterate and reconstruct the integer. And that would be the length and the delta, as in how many bytes you really require. That same logic goes over here. So if I look at what read length does, it does that exact same thing. So I am iterating from that position, extracting that byte. If it is out of integer range, which means that while parsing through my byte array, I encountered a position which is not a digit, which is 0 to 9. Then what I have to do is I have to directly return the length, because the integer that is constructed, I'll be returning it, and I'll be returning pos plus 2. I read until this point, then /r/n. So plus 2 is the adjustment for that. Right? If it is not there, I'm just constructing my integer over again. Length equal to length into 10 plus int of b minus 0. Right? Really simple read length function that you have over here. Now that you have read the length, what's the next part? You have to adjust the pos. That the actual pos you need to adjust, that you have read till this position. Now from that location, you have to read the length number of bytes, which is your actual string, and then a /r/n. So which is exactly what we are doing. We are returning the string representation of data of starting from the pos to pos plus len. I'm interpreting it as a string and returning pos plus len plus 2 and a nil. So pos to pos plus len, because pos was pointing to the first character of the string. Length is the number of characters in the string. So from pos to pos plus len will be my actual string. So hello, it's h to lello, hello, that is my string. And the number of bytes that I have parsed is till that plus /r/n. So pos plus len plus 2 is the number of bytes that you have processed, so that your other functions can use that and jump after that. Right? So this is how you will read bulk string. And then the final one, the big one, is the array. So array typically starts with a star. Array starts with a star followed by integer, which represents the number of elements in the array, followed by a /r/n, then a dollar, then the actual elements back to back. This is where your delta, this is where your decode1 function comes in handy, because here what you are having is you are having values which are stuck after each other back to back. So $5/r/n hello /r/n is how your string is encoded, and then $5/r/n world is how your world is encoded. It's back to back. So this is why you'll get this entire slice, but you have to iterate one value at a time, right? So this is where it would come in extremely handy, where a read array we'd start with 1 because of, like, obviously array starts with a star. So here pos starts with 1. Then we do a read length. Then we adjust the pos equal to pos plus delta because we have read the length. And now that we have the length, we have the count of the number of elements, right? We have the count of the number of elements in the array. Now we will allocate an array. We'll allocate an array that can hold any type of having that many elements, right? So if I'm getting 2, which means I'm creating an array of 2 over here that can hold any type of element. Then I'm iterating, and for those number of elements, I'm decoding one value at a time, right? So I'm invoking decode1, starting from that particular position. I'm getting whatever the value it is, followed by a delta and an error. If error is not nil, I'm returning. Otherwise, I'm setting that element into the array and I'm incrementing pos equal to pos plus delta. Now, no matter how big my array is, my decode1 function beautifully moves forward one after another. It moves forward one after another, covering my entire value that I've received. Right? And now if you look at this, I have just used all the examples that was given in the Redis's official specification, and I put that, and it really very beautifully parsed the entire array. For example, this array *2, *3 something, it is a nested array within an array. So you have one big array within which you have one sub array having 3 elements, all integers, and you have another array where one is string, or rather where 2 are string, one is string and one is error, right? And it still decodes them very well. This is why writing a simple looking code is really important, right? Where we just decoded one value at a time, returning that we process these many bytes and now we have to move forward. We process these many bytes and now we have to move forward, right? And this is how you would be parsing and decoding an array, which can obviously contain any kind of value, because we are just calling decode1. Now, array within an array, you can have literally infinite number of nesting. It would still work fine, right? Because the code flow is so simple, right? Now, again, here the critical decision was that we have to return the number of bytes that we processed to parse that particular value, so that it can be leveraged by other function to start from that location, and so on and so forth, right? So here you can see how we are always starting from data of post colon, right? So this is a critical low level design decision that we made, which makes our code very clean, very neat, very easy to read, nothing complicated at all. And this is all what I wanted to cover. So in this video, just to sum it up, we went through the Golang based implementation of RESP specification, where we covered 5 or 6 data types, and we wrote and we saw how to write a decoder for the RESP encoded values, right? We saw how to make low level critical design decisions that would make our code extensible and simple to read and extensible for the future, right? In the next video, now that we have RESP with us, in the next video, what we will do is we will write our first command, ping and pong. So on Redis CLI, when you send ping, in the response Redis server returns pong. We would implement this very same thing and see and actually connect it with Redis CLI. We would send ping, and in the response we would get pong. So we will be implementing our first command of our very own Redis implementation. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks once again.